let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go.
Go. 6.
It's beautiful.
Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
To the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Good to have you along. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com or on the Rush Radio app or the TuneIn app, thank you. Good morning, YouTubers. Always a good conversation taking place before the show even starts. Hit subscribe to this channel, like this video, and, of course, leave your comments in the comments section. Follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Good morning, Ross Peterson. What's going on?
Nothing, man. Nothing. You sound good today for some reason. Sounds like you I don't know. Sounded good. Some of the stress of the last couple of months shedding off of you now. You feeling better? Baby's home. Your baby is home.
My baby finally went home yesterday, and it was interesting because we went up to the hospital yesterday morning. The baby was a little upset, a lot of crying, so we went up there just to, because Abigail was like, hey, what's a good way to hold the baby, all this other stuff. So we went up there, but they went home and they said, hey, we're just going to go home. Could you guys not come? And we're like, because I think they just wanted to get situated. They were tired and unwind. We're like, absolutely. So I did a day of work here, and then we went in the car and went up to Memphis, Tennessee, and went to IKEA. We went to IKEA yesterday.
Cool.
Sure. Go ahead.
Dude, I've been to IKEA. Listen, I can't knock it. Half the crap in my house is from IKEA. Doesn't mean I like it. Just because it's the way it is doesn't mean I like it. Right?
Now, I will say this.
You've been to IKEA before, right?
Oh, I've been to the one in Kansas City several times. Now, I will say this. IKEA is good, especially for a kid that's getting ready to go to college. So we got a lot of that stuff done yesterday.
Yeah, that's perfect for it. I didn't think about that for a dorm room or for going off to. Yeah. Okay, all right.
Explain.
I have a lot of bad experiences at IKEA.
Explain something to me that I don't understand about college dorms and beds. What's the difference between a twin and a twin XL? Because exactly, your face and your reaction is telling me everything I need to know. To me, it was always just a twin bed, a full bed, a queen bed, and a king bed. I didn't understand or know about the twin XL until my kids started going to college. So we had to start looking for twin XL sheets. And, of course, my daughter can't sleep on polyester for some reason because she gets too hot. Dad, I get too hot. So I've got to have 100% cotton twin XL sheets. So we spend our time looking for twin XL sheets, and then you find the twin XL sheets. She goes, well, that's not the color I want. That's not the pattern I want. I'm like, it's a bed sheet. Who cares? Just buy it and put it on your bed.
There are 10 different mattress sizes, including crib. There are 10 different mattress sizes. There's something called crib. There's something called small, single, twin XL, full XL. And here's where we get really creative with the last four. Okay. The fourth largest mattress size is queen.
Okay.
The third largest mattress size is called Olympic queen. Like the Olympic swimming pool. You got a swimming pool. That's okay. We have an Olympic swimming pool. Then there's king. And then you know what the biggest mattress is called?
It's the California King, right?
Oh, the California King. Yeah, the California King. Why did we go Olympic Queen? Why did we get rid of the XL? We went twin XL, full XL, Olympic Queen. I don't know, dude. I did not know until first of all, I'm horrible on mattress sizes. I'm horrible on them. Like if I walk into, I cannot tell you the difference between a twin XL, and a double.
I believe the twin XL is a little bit longer. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's a little bit longer.
It is. It's 5 inches longer. It's 80 inches. There you go. I got it all in front of me. Internet tell you all.
What is the Olympic Queen? Is that 5 inches longer as well?
No, it's 6 inches wider.
So that just makes it seem like a king to me. I have a California king in my bedroom at home. What separates the California king from the king?
Okay, a king is a little bit more of a square. A king is 80 by 76, where the California king is only 72 inches wide, but it is 84 inches long.
Okay.
There you go.
So
there you go.
So it basically has to do with if you're a taller person, you want the XLs, or you want the Olympic, or you want the California.
Yeah.
This sounds like marketing to me.
People are particular about their sheets too. You're right.
Oh, and thread counts? I didn't know anything about thread counts until, I would just go to like Target, buy the cheapest thing on the shelf. But my wife is like, well, we got to have a certain thread count here. I'm like, thread counts? What does a thread count have to do with it?
That's not something you were aware of. I figured thread count was a big part of your vocabulary. Thought that was something that you'd be a big part of. You seem like a thread count guy.
I would probably feel a certain thread count and go, oh, these are super comfortable. What makes these so comfortable? And my wife would go, it's the thread count.
So you seem like, honestly, Trav, I thought you were the type of guy, you surprised me in all these different ways. I really did expect you to be the type of guy that could feel a pillowcase and go 440.
No, I'm not that good. I'm not that good. I apologize that I let you down.
It's okay. Listen. Sometimes even in letting me down, you lift me up.
Hey, you went to the Maquoketa or Maquoketa caves yesterday? How was that?
Yeah, Maquoketa caves, dude. It's the most amazing part of Iowa. I mean, Ledges State Park is really cool. Okoboji, when you're the first couple times you go up to Okoboji, if you're there in the middle of the week when it's not packed, Okoboji doesn't feel like Iowa. You're like, oh, this is like a beach town. This is really cool. Let's see. Then what other parts of Iowa don't feel like Iowa? There's not many. And man, let me tell you, the drive up there, you drive on the oh my goodness, what is the scenic highway that you go there? The Grant Woods Scenic Highway. It is all Iowa, dude. It's beautiful. Rolling hills up there in that eastern part of the state, and you take these turns and you can see for 30 miles. Looks like you can see Minnesota, Illinois, and South Dakota from one spot. It's just you can see forever on these just rolling beautiful hills. You see farmlands, and it's awesome. And then you pull into Maquoketa, and you roll up there, and you get down into those caves, and it feels like you're in a different world. It's about a 6-mile hike if you do all the trails and go see all the caves. We were able to do that yesterday in a couple of hours. It was really cool. It was a beautiful day. There were a lot of people there.
Is it free to get in, or is it a state park?
No, it's a state park. It's free to get in. It's both. It's both. It's a state park, but it's totally free. There's like a shelter house, and they have maps and Maquoketa stuff to do, but that's about it.
You mentioned areas that don't feel like Iowa, and I would agree with you just from the pictures that you posted yesterday. That and what that is the stereotype in our head when we say it doesn't look like Iowa because television has put cornfields all over the place. We automatically just think, well, Iowa's nothing but a big cornfield. We know that's not the truth, but those own stereotypes go into our own heads. I would even say, the western part of Iowa is not the same as the eastern part of Iowa, meaning you have those caves and stuff like that. Now, you do have the Luss Hills in western Iowa, which are really unique. They have the Luss Hills Scenic Byway, but I don't think it's anything like Eastern Iowa. When I've been to Eastern Iowa, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful.
I agree, Trev. Different, very cool. I'm with you. You said it perfectly. Loess Hills are unique. Are they the only one in the world, or are they one of two places in the world where the hills are basically sediment sand built up?
If I'm not mistaken, and you might have to do a quick Google search on this, but I believe the other set of Loess Hills would be in China. I think there's two places in the world that have Loess Hills, but that's what makes it really unique and kind of this Iowa treasure that nobody else can say that they have.
Yeah, only certain areas in China.
So Iowa,
different. That Northeast Iowa, that Maquoketa thing, and then there's a few other things over there. There's a few other state parks you can go to. What's the other one over there that's north of Maquoketa Caves? Pikes Peak. There's another state park like north of Maquoketa. You can make a trip out of that Eastern Iowa trek. Tyler mentions Backbone, which is a really cool park over there. Neat stuff. So loved it. Had a great time. Drove over. We stopped we're getting into Eastern Iowa there and getting into the sticks around lunchtime. Okay. So as I'm on a dirt road, hit my map, find us a lunch spot. I think Courtney's my phone didn't find anything. We were out in the sticks. It's like, you're toast. You can't eat rocks. And then Courtney's like, no, I found a spot. It was in this little town. I'm going to screw up the name of this town, man. Darn it. We went to one of those little roadside bars. You know what I mean? 4 locals sitting inside, noon on a Tuesday. Taco Tuesday special. It was great. It was just an awesome trip.
515-517-2303. Let's go to the phone, see who's joining us this morning. Who's this on the phone? Welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
How you doing, guys? This is Case. Pleasure.
What's up, Case?
For having me on. Ross, you know me, and we have the same barber when I'm in Iowa. Your next haircut's on me, brother.
That's very nice of you, Case. Thanks, man. Tommy will appreciate it. Did I see in the comments you're a Birds fan too, right?
Go Birds all day, every day. My family's from Chester, Pennsylvania. We migrated to Iowa to not die in the 70s, type of thing. And my uncle, I have 2 uncles that played basketball at Drake University, and that's kind of how the migration started. So, but Ross, I also want to tell you, I don't know how many haircuts you got left, brother.
Not many. Not many.
I love you.
That's very nice of you.
I'm bald too.
Now, you know this, Matt. I've talked about this.
But
The only reason I still get the haircuts is because of Tommy. I was bald, dude. Travis will testify. I was shaving my head. And Tommy, my buddy Tommy Carter at Platinum Signature said, hey, grow your hair out. Let me cut it for you. And now every time I get it cut, Travis says, you have more hair. I don't. In fact, it's time to get back to Tommy. I owe him some Eagles gear because my son made a bet. In fact, now that I'm saying this, my son owes him Eagles gear. I don't owe him anything. They made a bet, and of course,
I'll tell you what, Tommy's a miracle worker. If you went from bald back to where you are, then I disregard my last comment. He's a good dude. If he got you back to where you at now, brother, man, he's doing something right, man. Cause there's no coming back from me. But like you were saying about the beauty of Iowa and not seeing Iowa is because people get stuck in their own ways. The everyday rigmarole. Sometimes you just got to hit the pause button and say, you know what? Let me see what somebody else is doing. You know what I mean? Like this. Yeah.
Ferris Bueller said, life moves fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while, you're going to miss it.
Well, and then you see when people come in for the fair or what have you, they're like, Iowa's so beautiful. Well, it's always been beautiful. It didn't start yesterday. You know, that's always my comment is, y'all thought we was just podunk country. No, we're a city, we're a town, we're a state, we're people, we're all races whatsoever. You just have to open your eyes, and that goes for every state you travel
Everywhere, Matty.
to. Just open your
buddy.
eyes, man.
Case, good to hear from you, buddy. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling us, buddy. Appreciate it.
I love y'all. I don't watch as much as I can. I'm working railroad now, so I really don't have a lot of time. But when I do, I'm coming to watch you guys. I got a morning off. Doesn't happen a lot until it starts freezing. But
thanks, Case. We'll talk to you.
I love y'all.
That's nice to hear from Case. He used to call the old show quite a bit too, didn't he?
Yeah. Matt Case Bowl. Catch a case. You want to catch a case?
What Ross really did was talk about how he has creatively perfected the comb over. That is what Ross has perfected, is the comb over.
Over. It's comb across. It's certainly there's a comb across that's happening, but it's not comb over. There's nothing to go over. You know what I'm saying? There's no giant spot to cover. It's just a comb across. They call that feathering. There's a name for it.
Okay, there it is. It's called feathering. Hey, coming up a little bit later on in the show, Dan McCarney, former Iowa State football coach, going to be joining us at 7 o'clock. He had a post on his Facebook page yesterday talking about the 25-year reunion of the 2000 Insight Bowl team that got that first bowl victory, beat Pitt. And I reached out to Coach McCartney yesterday for a couple of reasons. A, just to touch base because he's such a good dude to have on. Number two, his last name's McCarney. I want to see if he's going to go to Ireland to see if he's going to watch the Cyclones in Ireland as well and maybe reconnect with some family roots. So Dan McCarney scheduled to join us at 7 o'clock today. Ross, last night the Indiana Fever took on the LA Sparks. And the Fever lost to the Sparks 100-91. But the story of the game and the headline on ESPN.com is that not that the Fever had their 5-game winning streak snapped. It was, of course, that another dildo was thrown onto the court. And it's raining dildos in the WNBA. You know that song, It's a Raining Man? It's raining dildos.
I remember.
It's raining dildo. So a dildo was tossed in the second quarter. It went towards Sophie Cunningham, who was pretty vocal about the dildos being thrown onto the court. There was also reports of dildos being thrown in Phoenix and dildos being thrown in New York.
Can we say, I don't like there's something about the way that you say that word that makes me feel uncomfortable.
I'm doing that on purpose.
Okay. All right. Good. It's working. It's working. You are hitting that button you're trying to hit. Every time you said that, I was like, oh, it feels violated.
I'm making it sound dirty, like it's dildos.
Oh, it's dirty. It's dirty.
It's interesting to even
to your point really quickly. I just pulled up ESPN.com. It is the second headline. The second headline is not NFL coming up, college football. Here's what's happening in Major League Baseball. The first headline is ESPN is acquiring the NFL Network and Red Zone from the NFL. So self-fulfilling headline on number one. The first true news headline that they have, again, going for the clicks. Sex toy tossed on Sparks court lands near player.
And in the story, they've even gotten away from calling it a sex toy. They're just calling it a toy now. They're trying to get away from. And I wish they would just call it what it is, and that is a dildo. It is a dildo. And so, therefore, I love how we try to polish over and make it sound better than what it is.
I know how to mute my mic. How do I mute your? Is there a button here?
Oh, but when you look at this. Would you say the WNBA has created this problem on their own? And just hear me out real quick. Hear me out real quick. And what I'm talking about this, you remember Morgana, when Morgana with her big boobs would run out on the field and try to kiss players and all that stuff, or when guys would run onto a football field. Well, it became the standard practice of TV stations and networks not to show that anymore, not even draw attention to it. Just say, you know what, just ignore it, go away, and not show it. Because what would happen is they would get their 15 seconds of fame. They wouldn't mind getting the trespassing. It was just a minor violation. Well, as soon as the first dildo was tossed onto the court, they made a big deal out of it, and they started complaining about it, and it became a bigger deal than what it was. In fact, I would say a lot of this is being brought on by Clay Travis. Clay Travis the other day was like, wouldn't it be a shame, just a horrific thing, if people just started showing up at WNBA games and started throwing dildos onto the court? And so you have people jumping on the book, basically saying, "Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Don't do this, guys. Don't take a dildo to a WNBA game and throw it onto the court." I think I'm not blaming the WNBA 100% here, but by bringing more attention to it, you are creating the atmosphere to go, okay, let's see if we can get away with it.
I like your little clarification or veer there at the end, that not necessarily the WNBA to blame for it, but definitely the attention that was given to it is what has driven this. No doubt about that. Travis, I saw things yesterday of guys, and I mean, being silly, but like, as you're scrolling through your reels or whatever, I don't have TikTok, so whatever you want to call those little videos that we time suck our day on. And one of them was this guy. It comes up and he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm not saying there's a way to make $70,000, but I think I found a way to make $70,000. I can buy a ticket to a WNBA game within about 3 rows for $220. I can go to Walmart and spend $16 on a plastic toy. And then I can go on my gambling app and bet on which color." That's where this got to. That some gambling apps were taking bets on which color the next, what are they called, Travis?
Dildos.
What the next color was going to be that got thrown onto the court. And so the guy was like, "Yeah, I could just go and buy a green one and bet on green, and it pays, 400 to 1, and I'm going to have a bunch of my buddies do this same thing." And then that, being silly, being funny. Did you see the again, people don't take this stuff seriously. It's all meant to just be ridiculous. Did you see Brandon's comment earlier?
No, I did not.
Sophie Cunningham had a response. She put out a tweet that said, "Please stop throwing dildos on the court. You're going to hurt one of us." And somebody responded on her post and said, "Then stop running across the dildo range."
See, we shouldn't laugh at that, but it is funny.
It's just meant to be ridiculous. But Travis, so I don't want to blame the WNBA. I do think that their reaction was part of it. First of all, yeah, okay. You know where they really screwed up was by seeking the guy out, banning him. You had his name in an article. There is a thing of like, oh, maybe they should have just kind of, I don't know what the right response was supposed to be. Even as a guy that's laughed at it, Travis, it is over the line.
100%.
Nothing should ever be thrown onto the field or court, ever. There's nothing, unless that's part of the promotion of the night. You know what I mean? Come to the hockey rink and throw a teddy bear onto the ice, or throw toilet paper onto the court. Unless it's part of the promotion, nothing should ever be thrown onto the court.
Maybe the only exception to that rule would be in Detroit when they score a goal. Don't they throw an octopus onto the ice?
Yeah. Somebody, I think, dude said that too. Is it just a goal, or is it a hat trick? In hockey, guy gets a hat trick, everybody throws their hats into onto the ice, right? That stuff I think I'm okay with. This guy throwing something on the court, maybe what should have happened here, Travis, as I'm just thinking about it out loud. What would have happened if I go down to Principal Park and I get drunk with my buddies, and I take my souvenir bobblehead and chuck it onto the field? I get escorted out. Maybe there's some sort of fine and or arrest that happens for a penalty that happens there, but they don't put my name in the paper. They don't make a big deal about it. In fact, you never ever hear about stuff like that. With the right thing, you can't. Again, just thinking about it out loud, you can't just ignore it. A dildo flew onto the court during a women's game, and the camera showed it. If you ignore it, that kind of makes it worse too. We've always talked about that. You what you're doing there is assuming people are stupid, and people hate that. So what was the right way for the WNBA to handle this? I do think that where they went out of line was by making as big of a deal about it as they did. I think you're right. Clay Travis, you want to know who to blame. Blame the guy who was like, oh, boy, it'd be a real shame, wink, wink.
That's why I think from here on out, you just ignore it, kick it off the court. Hopefully it doesn't hit anybody. I do agree with the player safety. There are safety issues there. But, I think dude from Iowa was on the chat talking about, this is it taking a shot at their sexuality? Is it on the edge of homophobia? I could see that maybe at the beginning, but I think now it's just a quest by people. Like, hey, you know what? Because people will follow.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. Okay, I would. So, dude wonders if it has something to do with if it's a poke at their sexuality. 100% yes. They don't throw dildos at guys, right? But on the edge of homophobia, what am I missing there?
Maybe it's taking a shot. Maybe it's that same sexuality comment. And again, I think probably the first one was, but the ones that are following is now just becoming copycat crimes, should we say, and people are just taking fun and enjoyment because the people who are throwing these onto the court don't care if they ever go back to a WNBA game or not.
Amen. They're absolutely, Travis, doing it for this effect. They're screenshotting these articles, sending them to their buddies, going, "Dude, I did it."
The guy they charged yesterday was like what, indecent exposure. The most they could probably get him on is like criminal trespass or something like that. It's going to be from a felony down to a misdemeanor. You pay a fine and you never go back to a game. And he's like, okay.
I got to push back because now I understand. I see Dude and Ray on the thing here. What Dude is saying when he says it's a poke at homophobia is it's heterosexuals making fun of homosexuals is his claim. Fellas, you can't do this. I'm gonna push back on this one. What you are saying there is that every WNBA player, Sophie Cunningham's not a homosexual. It doesn't have anything to do with their sexual preferences. It has something to do with their sex. One guy said they even throw dildos at Bills games. So I mean, they do throw these things at men as well. But I don't think it had anything to do with them being lesbians. And I think that's a weird thing to just assume that the women are all lesbians and therefore they're throwing something out there to remind them that they're lesbians. That I think this is that hammer nail thing I'm always talking about. Okay. I mean, Ray agrees with you. If that gives you any pause, dude, Ray agrees with you. Messing with you.
515-517-2303. Again, Dan McCarney, former head coach at the Iowa State Cyclone, scheduled to join us at 7 o'clock. It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vents, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
The Royal Mile, where everyone's a wee bit British. The Royal Mile is downtown Des Moines' living room with classic pub favourites. Pair them with a glass of whiskey or an expertly poured Guinness. It's bloody brilliant. The Royal Mile, a proper British pub.
There's always something new at Fong's Pizza. The patio is open and ready for you, your friends, and an ever-changing menu of tiki drinks. Or try our new noodle dishes alongside your favorite slice. It's all happening this summer at the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High-quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Cheaper, cleaner, and homegrown. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
The heat of summer is here. Have you had your vehicle safety inspected lately? With any service at Willis Chevy, we include a free multi-point inspection along with a video multi-point inspection. Our GM certified technicians will check your fluids, tires, suspension, brakes, and everything else underneath your vehicle. Come see us today for your inspection to make sure your vehicle is ready for that road trip or ready for the kids to go back to school. Schedule online today at willischevy.com.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Quick reminder to pump it up with Unleaded 88. It's cheaper, it's cleaner, it's greener, and it's a great fuel choice, making it a clear winner at the pump. So pump it up with Unleaded 88. Go to iowacorn.org to learn more. Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. Hanging out with you till 8 o'clock today. Again, Dan McCarney, former Iowa State basketball coach, going to be joining us at 7 o'clock. Ross, yesterday I mentioned that Peacock was raising my monthly subscription fee from $7.99 to $10.99, and that it was an increase that I think was palatable. It was the first increase I've seen in 2 years. So I'm like, okay, I guess I can handle this. One less, Starbucks coffee. Well,
I love it. It wasn't just yours. It wasn't targeted. They raised everybody's.
That's true. But like everything, I make it about me. I always make it about me and how it's going to impact me. But we may have found a reason for the increase besides just cost of living or inflationary type stuff. It's been announced that the Peacock network is acquiring in a sub-licensing agreement Big 12 basketball. So Big 12 basketball is now going to move 20 games a year to the Peacock network. This is expanding Peacock's sports portfolio. Of course, Peacock is aligned with NBC Sports. And so it's expanding that portfolio to offer more sports to consumers. And, there's a bigger play here. There's a much bigger play here. And you got to credit Brett Yormark. I think when Brett Yormark was hired as the commissioner of the Big 12 Conference, you're kind of like, okay, this guy, he comes from a completely different background. And it shows you that you don't have to have that college sports ingrained into your head, work your way up from athletic director to commissioner and all this other stuff. Sometimes you want somebody who looks at something completely different. And I think Brett Yormark has done that with the Big 12, and he's winning battles in the greater war when it comes to positioning the Big 12. He's done a great job with this.
He absolutely. I think he's one of the only commissioners that's looked outside of the football box at all. The SEC and Big Ten, we've talked about this over and over. We have all these big conversations about college sports, and we're really talking about college football. And then we actually have to break that conversation down. Whenever college basketball gets brought up, we have to go, oh yeah, by the way, this is all those conversations we had where we talked about it like it was the athletic departments. I mean, we make all this crazy umbrella stuff. We think it's the university. We think it's the athletic department. We think it's the conferences. No, it's the football teams that we're talking about. I mean, like even the conference thing, it's a joke that it falls apart when everybody, I like Big 12 teams. Oh, it's your Northern Colorado fan. No, I'm a Big 10 guy. Oh, okay. Well, what sport? What sport? It's all about football once you break it down, right? It's all about football. And Brett Yormark, I think when he saw the chess moves happening on the board that were going to force him out on that football power play, he was smart enough to go, okay, all right, Big East is going to survive. They're not a one football contract. We can do this. And they've put together a dynamic basketball conference, and now he's out there still shopping it and growing that portfolio on both ends. By the way, you say you use portfolio for Peacock. This is a good thing for the Big 12 as well. We have multiple media partners across multiple media platforms.
Well, and you mentioned the chess game, and this is exactly what I think Brett Yormark is playing, because now that he's on Peacock, the Big 12 is now on Fox, it's on ESPN, it's on NBC, it's on CBS, and it's on TNT. So you have 5 media partners that are major players in the college basketball realm. Now hear me out. The next TV deal for the Big 12 comes up in 2031. So what you're doing is you are putting them on these platforms to show them, hey, there's value. All 5 of these platforms now are going to see the power of the Big 12, if it exists, which I think it does, especially from a basketball standpoint, and could continue to grow football-wise. But it gives you more negotiating power when it comes to the table to get more television rights money when it comes up for bid in 2031. It's to me, a brilliant chess move.
I completely agree. They have the Brett Yormark is playing a different game. It seems like, right, Trav? I mean, the SEC and the Big Ten are singularly focused. Power play in the football world. And I think that this is smart. You nailed it, man. They brought a guy in that was an outsider who thought of it in a different way, and I think that they've benefited greatly from that.
Look at it as a game of war or stratego. He's flanking. He's starting to. And
again, man, he's playing in different areas, right? That's a good way to put it. Flanking in that battlefield Sun Tzu world. Yeah, he's getting outside of the direct fight for other battles that will happen. I think that's a good way to look at it, man.
So in the other TV deal that happened yesterday, and still needs to be approved by the NFL owners, is that the NFL Network is going to become a property of ESPN, and so will the Red Zone. this has been met, and this is not a new story. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago when the rumors started flying out there, and people have been pretty adamant about their red zone. And the red zone's for that hardcore football fan. I'm not a red zone subscriber. I'm just not. But ESPN is going to direct-to-consumer product here, I believe, this fall at $29.99 a month, and the NFL Network will be a part of this. The part of the deal that I may have a problem with just personally, and maybe I need to get over my sanctimonious attitude when it comes to, crossing paths or crossing streams. The NFL is going to get a 10% stake of ESPN. I don't like that because of editorial content. Meaning, if the NFL owns part of you, even 10%, are you able?
It's a big chunk.
It's a big chunk. It is a really, really big chunk. And when it comes to criticizing players or doing hard stories, does that, and you're going to have the journalists saying, no way, that doesn't do it. But you also have bosses that say, hey, you know what? There's a financial stake here. We have to be a little more cautious or careful on the way we go about reporting stuff. Or am I just digging way too deep into this?
Oh, no. You know this better than anybody, Travis. In fact, you can give us more insight in this. You've worked in news departments. We at the radio station, we were told what to say when not every day, but we were given, hey guys, this is a PSA. During COVID, we had to read certain things. You're nailing this, Travis. This is absolutely the problem with giving the NFL 10% ownership is this exact thing. The CTE story. Would ESPN have covered the CTE story if the NFL were a 10% owner? There's no, they would not have. They would not have. It would have been, there'd have been a few links to other stuff. Would they have covered it like they did? In fact, they probably didn't cover it as much as they should have because of an already existing relationship with the NFL. This is exactly what I was talking about the other day, Travis, with hearing those drug commercials on TV and radio all the time. Those drug companies are the customer of the media. You know that phrase, the customer is always right? You got to keep the customer happy. The drug companies, the pharmaceutical companies, are the customer of the media corporations. They are the ones showing up with money. The pharmaceutical companies show up with money and say, hey, do you want my money? Then I want you to play by some rules. We'll air our toe fungus ad. Okay, we'll give you all sorts of money on this really high value commercial we put together that might help 100 people in the country. And by the way, it might give them suicidal thoughts and all sorts of horrible side effects. Why do they do that? Why do they pay? Why do they show up at NBC and Fox News and all these places with tons of money and say, here, air our pharmaceutical ads for us? For the exact same reason that the NFL shows up at ESPN. We'd like to have a little bit of creative control here. And when you guys start to do ads, or start to do news stories about drugs, we'd like you to reach out to us to find out whether or not that's going to hurt our bottom line. And if you don't think that happens, you are completely naive. Completely naive. If there had been a story, Travis, let's use a fake restaurant in town, okay? Let's say that we had a restaurant called Billy's that was a huge endorser at iHeart, right? And then let's say there was this huge scandal that happened at Billy's restaurant and they found, dead rats in the oven. Our salesperson would call us and say, do not mention Billy's rats. Okay. Right, Travis. We'd say, okay, yeah, we love Billy. We love that Billy helps pay our bills. We're not going to talk about that story. You bet. It's that easy. That happens all the time, doesn't it, Travis?
Well, I'll give an example. I don't have the exact event, but what made me mad when we were at iHeart is the control just like that. There would be an event coming to Central Iowa or Des Moines that we'd want to, whether that would be a rodeo, a race, something of that nature that was of actual newsworthy. And now I hope people who listen to the show and watch this show understand that We don't care if you spend money on this show or not. We have great advertisers, we have great supporters, and sure, we're going to pump them up. But if there's something going on that's newsworthy or worthy of talking about or finding out more about, I want to have those discussions. I don't care if you spend a dime or not. We want to have just interesting conversations. And I remember it was either a rodeo or it might have been a monster truck show where, they would have drivers come in. Where doing those interviews are really fun because you get to know a person who's actually sitting in one of those trucks. And I'll never forget the email. It was like, do not mention this event and do not have any guests on from here. And they actually said they're not spending money with us.
They're not giving us money, so we ignore them. It's a news event. It's a sporting event happening in Des Moines, Iowa. We claim to be Des Moines sports station. We can't talk about it? No, they're not paying us money. That's how the world works. So if you're worried about ESPN getting in bed with the NFL, you should be. And if you see people going, hey, this is going to affect stuff, and ESPN and the NFL both go, no, it won't. You want your football or not? Okay. All right. This absolutely has an impact on the stories that are told, on the way they're told, all those things. We won't get the dirt on the NFL from the ESPN anymore. Now, I mean, I like the NFL Network. I don't have Red Zone. People are saying it's life-changing. Say it's the greatest thing on the planet. Again, I don't have time to watch that much football or care about that many angles. I just want to watch the game, enjoy it. But those are major properties. ESPN also acquiring the fantasy side of NFL.com. Now, the NFL is keeping two properties, and I'm glad they're keeping NFL Films. I don't think ESPN should have. I'm glad the NFL is keeping NFL Films. That's a valuable property. NFL Films produces some amazing stuff. NFL is also keeping NFL.com. They're in part of this 10% acquisition, the fantasy part of it. And so what is ESPN getting into even more? They're getting into the gaming. They have their casino. They have their online book. They're looking at that as revenue. And it would be interesting to see what they wanted more. Did they want the fantasy part more, or did they want the Red Zone and the NFL Network? Because ESPN's been doing NFL broadcasting and shows for years. I don't know if you're going to notice that much of a difference. You probably look at that fantasy part and go, oh, there's real revenue right there in the fantasy part. And I think you're missing two very important words. When you say they don't own NFL Films and they don't get to own NFL.com, those two important words are for now. For now. The next round of negotiations, what are they going to grab at? NFL Films? I bet that's the case.
Now, the move makes sense for the National Football League. Owning a network is not easy. And what I mean by that, you got to have studios, you got to have employees, you have to have talent.
They've had it. They built it. They did it. It's not. I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right that it's expensive and there's a lot of overhead and all that. But man,
what I mean by that is it's like, okay, are we better off doing this on our own, or ESPN is going to this direct to consumer model? ESPN. Whether you like ESPN or not, I don't think ESPN is the ESPN I grew up with, right? SportsCenter was what I grew up with. To me, ESPN is just a place I go to watch games. Hey, Iowa State's on ESPN today. I'm going to watch Iowa State or a big bat. I don't look at it to go, I got to go watch Stephen A. Smith. I don't have to go watch SportsCenter anymore. Those shows don't do it for me like they used to. To me, it is a sports network where I can go get the most games because I've got ESPN, I've got ESPN2, I've got ESPNU, I've got ESPN News. I've got all these offshoots of ESPN that produce content and put games on there. That's why I watch it. And I think the NFL just goes, okay, you know what? Are we better off producing this or somebody else and just wash our hands of it? They do it. They've got a corner on the market. Sure, we have a certain portion of it. And just hand it off. That makes sense to me from the NFL standpoint. But
I mean, it'll all shake out. I'll see what the changes are. I have never I've never had Red Zone, Trav. I'm not that much of an NFL junkie, but man, my friends that are NFL junkies, it's a must. It's a must. And it does seem like the commercial aspect of that. I've seen a lot of people weighing in with ideas on what they would like to see, how they'd like to see that handled, staying commercial free, or how they're going to implement that. I don't know.
Do you want to see ESPN talent like take over NFL Network shows or be part of the? Again, we both don't have Red Zone.
I'm not being rude. I don't know what you mean by ESPN talent.
And that's not a comment. I think a lot of people are worried that Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee are going to be a much bigger part of the NFL's coverage on NFL Network, and more specifically the Red Zone. And that's what I've heard from and seen from viewers who are like, don't ruin my Red Zone. I just like it with the people I'm familiar with. But if you're ESPN, you're like, we're paying Stephen A. Smith a boatload of money. We're paying Pat McAfee a boatload of money. And if they can bring eyeballs, viewers, good or bad, because we have seen polarizing is not necessarily a bad thing. Even because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you won't watch or listen to somebody.
They're going to try to get more McAfee and Stephen A. Smith?
That's the worry. That has not been confirmed. It's early reaction from people who, rent these properties. And that's really, when you're a monthly subscriber, you're basically renting the property, right? You're paying a monthly rent to have that come into your home. But these people are like, oh my God, not now. Casey Hall's letting us know that Scott Hansen just signed a deal to stay with Red Zone. Scott Hansen must be the Red Zone guy. Again, I don't have Red Zone, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm out of my element here, dude. I don't have Red Zone. I'm not a huge NFL fan. I don't watch ESPN. Literally, when you said they're worried about ESPN talent, I could have named maybe those two guys. I don't know who works at ESPN. I'm not knocking the people that work there. I'm saying I don't watch ESPN at all.
That's funny. And you say
even when I watch a game, I don't. I've told you this for years. I never, unless it's Kevin Harlan, I can't tell you who calls a game. I don't listen for that. I don't. I'm watching the game and I'm having an internal monologue while I'm watching the game.
It's funny you say that, because there was probably a point in both of our lives when we could go down and name a lot of ESPN talent, from SportsCenter to studio shows to even reporters. It's interesting that you said, I don't even know who some of the ESPN talent is, because if I were to say, give me some ESPN talent, obviously Stephen A. Smith would be one. Pat McAfee would be another. Kirk Herbstreit and Fowler would be one. Reese Davis. But there's like five, and I'm not going much deeper than that.
Yeah, and I think of those guys as college football guys, not as ESPN guys.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
I don't even think of that, because, man, when goes back to our childhood. When you say ESPN guys, I'm trying to picture somebody behind a desk. I swear to God, the first person that comes to mind is, Chris Hassel, but he's on CBS. That's an ESPN guy, right? That's what that means to me. When you say ESPN guy, I'm picturing somebody at the SportsCenter desk. And right now, if I put a name to that body behind that desk, it's Chris Hassel, who doesn't even work at ESPN. Is that it? So ESPN guy now means, in my brain, it obviously means something totally different. Because even McAfee, I have a hard time going, McAfee's an ESPN guy? Because I kind of thought he was a Barstool guy. I kind of thought he was an independent guy. I kind of thought he was a gun for hire.
Yeah, it's almost like ESPN is syndicating his show. His show's in Indianapolis, and they're like, hey, we want your show, and we'll hire you on a $10.99 basis to come and do college games.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. So, interesting how our brains work.
It is. But again, the NFL getting 10% stake in ESPN, which currently right now is owned 80% by Disney and 20% by Hearst. So it'd be interesting to see how they split that up. If each entity has to give up a piece of the pie, or if Disney's going to give up 10% alone and go down to a 70% share. But it'll be interesting to watch the editorial content of the National Football League as that moves forward. Ross, real quickly, it is Wednesday. We're a day before the official start of the Iowa State Fair. However, the fair, wink, wink, is open today because the gates, they're not going to be taking tickets at the gate. They are going to be, you can just walk in. And we encourage you to go to JR South Pork Ranch tonight as Brooks Reynolds is going to be open for business. Live music tonight. Going to be a lot of fun at JR's just to kick the fair off.
Damon Dotson's going to be starting at 4 o'clock, and that's just the start of it. As you said, Travis, 11 days of fun rocking your way at the Iowa State Fair. And speaking of rockets, you got the Chicken Pickle Ranch rocket available this year at JR South Pork Ranch. Of course, he still has the AE Party Balls and the amazing lobster rolls. So come by and check us out. We're going to be there Friday morning. We won't be there long. You're basically going to have to be a camper to come see us, right?
Yeah. But
or at the gate at 8 o'clock to race in to say hi.
And who knows, we might be drinking a bottle of Dom Perignon over the 2 hours we're on the air there. Maybe, just maybe. 515-517-2303. When we come back, former Iowa State head coach Dan McCarney going to be joining us. He looks ripped today. He's got like the tank top on. He just popped into the studio.
Today. Like, if we'd have got him tomorrow, he probably wouldn't look ripped. He's doing okay.
Here's what I know: he could still kick our ass, right? I mean, he would kick our ass big time.
It's that intensity, it's that burn that we've always talked about with Coach, right? That you could even try to prepare for it. Like, all right, it's kind of like having when we're around Coach Joey Woodley, right? You're like, all right, I'm ready, and then you get done with the interview and you're like, I wasn't ready.
Dan McCarney next on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
You've got enough on your plate, so when it's time to reset, grab a Fresca. Bold citrus, zero sugar, zero caffeine. Just clean, crisp refreshment that never goes out of style, whether it's post-work, post-gym, or just a break from the noise. Fresca's got your back. Pick up a Fresca at your local retailer today.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vents, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
At Midwest Landscapes and Hardscapes, we know that the only way to do business is the fair way. That means honest quotes, no surprises, and work that speaks for itself. From the first sketch to the final sweep, we keep you in the loop because communication builds trust, and trust builds beautiful spaces. Midwest Landscapes and Hardscapes, fair, skilled, thorough. Just the way it should be.
Cars basically do three things. They go, they stop, and they turn. If any of those aren't working right, bring your Infiniti into Willis Infiniti, and you'll get $50 off per axle brakes to help it stop, and you'll get $25 off an alignment to help it turn. Then you can go with peace of mind. Give us a call or visit us online at willisinfinity.com to schedule your appointment today.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah. Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It is Wednesday, August 6th. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com, on the Rush Radio app or the TuneIn app, thank you so much for dialing us in. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, like this video, start leaving your comments in the comments section, and you can follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. I love it when people are punctual, on time, and are ready to go. And we talked about Dan McCarney joining us on the Rush Radio Show this morning, and he joins us live from his home in Florida. Good morning, Coach. What's going on?
Travis, Ross, how you guys doing? Listen, it's just good to know somebody else is up early in the morning. I already walked the dog. I've already been to LA Fitness. You're kind of interrupting my workout routine. Then I go swim, and then I ride my bike. Then I go do what I need to the rest of the day. But it's an honor and a joy to be with you guys.
Okay, take me through that workout routine.
Yeah, what do you do to wake up then, Coach? How do you?
Oh, the first thing I do is grab a Coca-Cola. That goes over real good with my doctor after I had quadruple bypass a few years ago. But but I get going in the morning. It's funny because all those years, we don't need a pat on the back as coaches for the hours, but you guys have an idea and you've heard about it probably. But whatever you've heard is real now. I mean, it's all day. It's every day. It's at the office real early. You stay till late at night. I've been asked a few hundred times through the years, I bet you really enjoyed watching the NFL games on Sundays. Like, what are you talking about? We go to work at 6:30 or 7 on Sunday mornings. You're there till 10 or 11 or midnight. There's a workload that you have to get through to get ready for the next game. But these days, that coach's clock and that coach's alarm clock and that coach's those hours still kind of sticks with you in retirement. So I've always been an early riser, used to deliver the Des Moines Register for many years. That got your ass out of bed early for the morning papers. And, but I love it. I'm trying to extend this life as I can.
Coach, I love that. I got to tell you a quick story. My dad still gets the register. You're going to hate this. About twice a week, his register gets delivered on top of his roof. They missed the front porch, and the paper ends up on his roof. So big knock there. All right, I got to ask you something because you just hit on this. When you're coaching, because Travis and I dealt with this when we were doing Sound Off, you focus on one game. As a coach, you guys, Saturday, you're focused on that one game. Sunday, you go back and you replay that one game, and you're watching that. Maybe on Monday or Tuesday, you start to look forward and you watch that one team that you're going to play on Saturday, okay? This last week, Iowa State is top 25 in the preseason coaches poll. How many times did you actually fill out a coaches poll?
Every time, every single time.
Really?
No question. You can ask Tom Koshel at Iowa State. You can ask Eric Capper at North Texas. The times that I was on the poll all those years as a head coach, probably about 2 decades, I filled it out every single time. I just took pride in it. To me, it was like an honor to be able to vote who are the best teams in America. And if you're just throwing it at somebody else and say, here, take care of this, I just didn't like it. It rubbed me wrong. So I did follow the scores. It's funny when you're on that poll, which I was all those years, Saturday night, hopefully it's a celebration after a victory. Unfortunately, sometimes it wasn't. But you're following those scores not only because you love and cherish college football, but I got to vote the next morning. Early the next morning, I got to get my votes in. So you follow all those scores and all those votes. And then sometimes very early on Sunday mornings, I might be grabbing a GA and said, hey, what the hell was that score of that Boston College, Virginia game? You just got to get the score so you can be accurate on it. But that's a true story. I did every one of them because I felt like it was a real honor to be selected to be on that poll.
I feel validated because Ross and I had a disagreement yesterday. He said, no coach feels it. I said, no, I'm not saying every coach does, but I said there are some who would honor it. So he validated me. He made me feel better today.
Yeah, and you're right. I'm sure because through the years you're friends with a lot of head coaches, and you're exactly right. Not every coach does that. I just felt my roots. When you kind of start from scratch, you're not even going to know you're going to get into coaching. Then you're a graduate assistant, then a part-timer, then a full-timer, and then there's 10,000 coaches at the National Coaches Convention every year, and there's only 125. The years that I was a head coach, only 125 head coaches. I just felt like that was the least I could do to be honored to ask to vote and who are the top 25 teams in America. And it's fun to watch and fun to follow, but I don't have to vote anymore.
Coach, you popped up on my Facebook page yesterday, and you had a post, and I want to talk about two specific things this morning. But you had a post yesterday showing your 2000 team that went to the Insight Bowl, beat Pitt, and you're going to have a 25-year reunion this year. Do you know what game is that going to be for, and how much do you still stay in contact with some of your former players?
All the time. Love it, enjoy it, embrace it, appreciate it. We're all going to be part of each other's paths in life, no matter how long we're around. It's just so cool to stay in touch with these guys. And isn't this funny how this works, guys? If you recruit young men that are dedicated, they're loyal, they're hardworking, they care, they really love success, they want to do whatever it takes, they respect authority, they respect teammates, they're good teammates, they really care, they're hardworking, they care. Isn't that funny how that works? And then when they get through with football, hopefully they've been real successful because of those attributes. And then they're real successful as husbands, they're real successful as dads, they're real successful in their professions. Isn't that funny how that works? But I just have this unique perspective and unique connection, as you guys know, both Iowa and Iowa State. Friday, I'm going to go up to Anna Marie Island. I've got 10 of my former defensive linemen at Iowa that I coach. We're all getting together. We started last year. I think they kind of wanted to do it because they thought my ass might be gone before long. So let's get together. So we're getting together up there, just 2 days of laughs and memories and sharing thoughts and stories and invitations. 2 weeks from tomorrow, I head to Ireland with 3 of my former captains at Iowa State, plus my son, plus 3 other friends. 8 of us are going to cheer on the Cyclones against Kansas State. As soon as I get back on Sunday, that following Thursday, I'll go back, as you mentioned, Travis, to go back for our 25-year reunion of the first bowl victory in the history of Iowa State football. 3 weeks after that, I'll head back to Iowa City. We've got our 40th reunion of our 1985 Rose Bowl team led by Chuck Long and the boys. What an incredible team that was. Went all the way to #1 in the country. And then 3 weeks after that, I'll go back to Madison, Wisconsin, because they're bringing in all 3 of Barry Alvarez's Rose Bowl champion teams. And I was a part of the first one as the defensive coordinator, and it was the first Rose Bowl victory in the history of the school. So you're just so blessed. That's breath, which you never get to when you're coaching. The small part that you were at these places, and then when you really build them, University of Iowa, Iowa State. When kids nowadays go, oh yeah, terrible for many. They lost for decades. They didn't go to bowl games. They didn't win games. They didn't sell out. And then it's like, what are you talking about? Of course they did. No, they didn't for many, many years. And to be a part of those turnarounds and be part of that magic and be part of that history is just incredible. So that was a long answer to a short question, but back to what you asked about. Can't wait. I think we got between 150, 160 people coming back so far. There'll be more to add before we get back for the home opener against South Dakota. It's the only team that they're bringing back that weekend, and they're going to honor that team. What I've found out, guys, and I've been back to Ames and Iowa City many times. I try and go every year in the fall. That team was one of the most respected, one of the most revered in all of athletics at Iowa State because it was the first, not because I was the head coach. It was because of what those seniors and those players did and what that team had done, because no team in 100 years had ever won a bowl game. Johnny Majors went to 2 with really good teams. They lost both bowl games. Earl Bruce went with 2 really good teams. They lost both those bowl games. And somebody had to be the first, in this group of seniors in that team of 2000 did that. And it's going to be fun to go back and relive those memories.
You answered my second question, and that was, where are you going to go to Ireland? And is this more a go watch football trip, or is it a family trip to reconnect with roots? Because McCarney is obviously an Irish name, right?
Oh, yeah. In our family, my grandpa was Patrick Daniel McCarney. My dad was Patrick Joseph McCarney. I'm Patrick Daniel McCarney. My brother was Michael James McCarney. My son's Shane Daniel McCarney. My grandson is Patrick David. It's pretty Irish. And we kind of grew up in a family where, I'm telling you guys, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, was bigger than any other holiday anywhere throughout the year. So a teammate of mine at Iowa was Jimmy McNulty, wide receiver, tremendous guy, great, lifelong friend. His brother Ted still has a couple of passing records as a quarterback at University of Indiana. Jimmy and I were real close while we played, after we played, all through the years. His dad was a big old 315-pound baritone voice, owned a restaurant and bar in Bloomington, Indiana, where Jimmy and Ted grew up. Big Irishman. My dad, Patrick Joseph, PJ, he was a big Irishman. And Jimmy and I used to always talk about going to Ireland. We should take our dads. Unfortunately, his dad passed then with a massive heart attack. Then I lost my dad. Then I lost Jimmy. So when this game came up, I called my son Shane. He lives in Austin, Texas. I said, what do you think about going over and hitting that Iowa State, Kansas State? He goes, Dad, not only yes, hell yes. Could we go? What do you think? I said, let's do it. So we'll be over there. A group of 8 of us are going. Should be a lot of fun. But probably the best chance for me to find relatives will probably be in the bars and the pubs of Dublin, Ireland.
Have you ever been to Ireland? Is this your first trip?
Never been. First time. And the only thing I'm not looking forward to is that flight from Atlanta to Dublin, because I don't sleep on planes, and I've tried it all. I've tried anything and everything. I don't sleep on planes. So
first class, fly first class.
And then I'll try. Yeah. And and then the great thing is, here's 2 teams that are in the hunt for the Big 12 championship every year. They're in the hunt. They're going to bowl games. They're winning. 2 elite coaching staffs. The stadium holds 51,000, I understand. And it should be a lot of fun. I know the game sold. I think the game sold out or close to selling out. A lot of Iowa State, a lot of Kansas State fans, and then of course there's going to be a lot of tailgating. If it's the Irish in Dublin, Ireland, there's going to be a lot of tailgating.
This is great. I love it. So while you're over, do you have specific plans or the specific things that you're going to hit? Have you done any searching on Ireland to see, are there landmarks you definitely have to hit, or are you going to kind of fly by the seat of your pants when you get there?
Fly by the seat of our pants. We didn't want to go long, 10-day, all that stuff. None of us wanted to stay that long. So we're actually only be there 3 nights with the most important thing, going to the game and enjoying that. And hopefully the Cyclones get off to a great start. But we'll probably hit, once we get there, we'll figure it out. I'll leave that up to the young guys to do that. But what I don't want to do after going through a marathon flight to get to Dublin is get in a car and then drive 4 or 5 hours to go find some place where they, where they serve cold beer. I mean, we don't need to do that. So if we can hit something and learn something about the history of Ireland, great. I'd like to find a beach. I don't know if they have any beaches in Dublin, but I'd like to go just find. You see the color and the beauty of Ireland. I'd like to go see some of the landscape and some of the sights. I'm a country guy growing up in the state of Iowa. I'd like to go just drive around just a little bit and see the country of Ireland.
Coach, do you find yourself following football closer now, or have you kind of backed away since you're not in the coaching profession anymore? Do you still follow it as close, or do you I've got other stuff to do on a Saturday, I'm not gonna watch a game?
No, it's amazing, guys. I've watched incredible. Unfortunately for my wife, football, as you guys know, once the Mid-American Conference cranks up, they start games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. There's always a Thursday night game. Then there's Friday night games. Then there's Saturday, all day Saturday. And then we usually have a Sunday night game. And then there's a Monday, so it's kind of nonstop. But you still have these connections because I have a lot of former coaches that are still coaching in college. I think 3 of them in the NFL. So you follow those teams, obviously. I don't have any former players still playing in the NFL. Carlos Dunlap was my last one off our national championship team in Florida. He retired, had a long career. Used to obviously like to try to follow guys' careers at the next level, but now it's just enjoying and watching. But to me, there's nothing like college football on a Saturday. There's nothing like it. And to sit there and not have to, the thing that was tough and the thing that you really enjoy nowadays, those bad calls, bad decisions by the head coach, me, a tough loss, a gut-wrenching loss, an injury, those kind of things. You'd wake up on a Saturday night, Sunday morning, 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning, and it's spinning through that small brain of mine, and you couldn't get back to sleep. Now, no matter what happens, or that holding call, or that coming up just one play short, it doesn't tear your guts inside out, and you can still get up Sunday and go enjoy the day, unlike the days when you'd have those heartbreaking losses or injuries, which was the toughest thing to me, was the toughest thing about college football. I just really enjoyed it. I'm a huge fan of the game and love watching it.
Yeah, obviously, Coach, your passion for it pours out of you, right? We have watched, Travis and I, obviously as outsiders, as this landscape of college sports and specifically college football has changed. I got a 2-part question for you, because you've got some really interesting perspective from all of your different institutions that you're still very much attached to. All of these institutions are handling these changes a little bit differently. That's the second part. The first part of the question that I have for you is, are you glad that these changes happened now? Do you think that during your coaching days, this would have you would have liked this tumultuous time?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Thank God the product that's on the field right now, as you guys know, and Iowa State, Kansas State kicks off college football in 2025, 2 weeks from today, as I mentioned. The game is just fantastic. The coaching, the players, the athleticism, the size, the physicality, the strategy, the talent of the coaches, the talent of the players, the amazing conferences now, even though you can't even keep track who the hell's in this conference, who's in that conference, hard to keep track. But to answer your question, honestly, what I really enjoyed having the transfer portal in place, the 45 years I was in Division I football, not a chance. We laugh about it, we kid about it, because I stay in touch with a lot of coaches. There's so many players, guys, as freshmen, that when we started as coaches, and all coaches are going to do this now, regardless of where you're at, there's going to be demands, there's going to be expectations, you're going to be on time, you're going to be respectful. You couldn't find guys when they didn't do that, but you could sure take their ass to the stadium and run them stadium steps. Or you could get them up in the morning and discipline them for not doing what they're supposed to and what they're expected to do. You don't treat a professor with respect, get their ass up and get them running. Let's go. Let's get this thing. That's part of our responsibility. So, and had we done that, we laugh about it, because there were so many guys when that came, you're making that adjustment from high school to freshman in Division I, big time Power 5, Power 4, Division I football. And those things come down, raining down on you. It's hard. And how many guys, had they had the transfer portal available, would have packed their bags and hauled ass out as freshmen, because they didn't want to listen to that, figuring it might be easier someplace else. And many, many times, guys, the best players that we ever coached went through those trials and tribulations and that heartache and that adversity, and coaches being stubborn about discipline and doing it the right way. Had they had that option and availability to pack their bags and leave right away, a whole bunch of those guys would have been long gone, thinking it might be easier somewhere else. They stayed because of that 1 year that you had to sit out if you transferred. And I've lost track of how many times talking to young men, talking to their parents, talking to their grandparents, talking to their uncle, talking to grandfather, whoever it was, about why they need to stay. And in the end, it was the best thing they could have ever done. So that part I don't like. Challenge comes, adversity comes, hard times come. Don't pack your bags and run. Compete, baby. Compete for that job. Bow your neck. It ain't going to happen right away. Bow your neck and compete. So that part. The money, fantastic. We always wanted to do more for the student athletes, but right now, until we completely get it under control, young men and recruits shouldn't go to the highest bidder, and we all know that's what's going on.
All right, so I got a quick. You bring up the freshman. Okay.
Trav, I want to ask about that second part of that question. All these different universities are handling these changes in a different way. Travis and I have noticed this. Conversations we've had with Beth Getz or Jamie Pollard, or conversations with folks at UNI. Everybody's feeling a little bit different about their current status right now. You're attached to a lot of different universities, Coach. You get to talk to folks in Florida, folks in Wisconsin, folks in Iowa. Who do you think, and what is the differentiating factor between feeling positive right now and folks that are really nervous in this new landscape?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. There's just so much gray area right now, as you guys know. They're trying to get things better. They're trying to improve. Who's going to make those decisions? Who's the one that's going to say, this is it, period, end of story? I've heard from a lot of coaches that really, truly would like to get Nick Saban in a position as the commissioner of college football, along with some other former coaches, to what's best for the game, what's best for these young men, what's best for college football, and stop this where there's so much, there's just something about taking care of young men once they've earned it. How about this unique concept? You get what you earn. And now on the front end, as you guys know, there's so much money being handed out and passed out, and they haven't even played one down of college football yet. How about getting this thing set up where you earn it, and then let's take good care of you? There's a salary cap like there is in the NFL. Right now, it's just wide open. So it just makes it so hard. But that's what makes it so amazing to me, because do you think the majority of the players at the University of Iowa and at Iowa State University, their best players couldn't leave if they wanted to, or couldn't leave for more money? Of course they could. And Iowa State are very competitive, but it's not. I was in the SEC and won a national championship. I know that conference. I still have coaches in that conference that I know real well. It's kind of like a different world financially and with the money that they have. And if guys want to leave and you've already established yourself as a really good player, you're going to get that opportunity if you want to. But it still comes back to relationships in some cases, the respect that you have, the mutual respect, the mutual pride, the mutual love that you may have with someone. That I started something, I want to finish it. But unfortunately, as you guys know, in many cases, many cases, guys are just saying, where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? And until they get this thing more under control, everybody talks about guardrails. I've heard that 100 million times. I get it. But there has to be some type of control of this. Otherwise, I'm afraid of the direction we might go.
Do you think the game, a lot of people say college sports isn't what it used to be. And from a transfer portal situation, they're right. From the pay standpoint, they're right. But do you think the game is I watch college football and I go, it's still a great product. So I don't think college sports has changed from the way I view it. Do you think it's changed at all?
I don't. The product, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. I think the product is phenomenal. I think the game is fantastic. I think some of the rules that they changed were really positive for college football. And of course in the NFL too, protecting quarterbacks and all those things. And I spent half my career as an assistant and as a defensive coordinator trying to knock the quarterbacks into the middle of next week and knock them down and collapse pockets and hit quarterbacks and disrupt and distract them and trying to help you win. But it's been really good the way they've handled those things. I remember the old Lester Hayes days with Oakland Raiders before you guys. When you could just throw those clotheslines. Bobby Stoops was really good at it. Mike Stoops was really good at it. Mark Stoops was really good at it. Bobby Elliott was really good at it. And those receivers coming across the field, and you may not run as fast as those receivers, but you could slow them down and affect the game by throwing those clotheslines back there. They've stopped those things. They've improved the game. And to answer your question, I think it's a fantastic game right now. The amazing ability of strength staffs nowadays to work year round with these guys and develop them, the strength, the speed, the athleticism, and then these elite coaching staffs that are in place in many places that know how to elevate and improve and enhance their careers and give them an opportunity not only be great, but hopefully go to the next level. It's an amazing game. College football is an amazing game, but we need to continue to keep improving the things that are happening off the field. I guess that's my bottom line.
Yeah, I love it. Coach, I love this old school. So, all right. So speaking of old school, Trav, we saw a story this morning on ESPN.com. George Kittle, a former Iowa tight end, a little bit upset that they're getting rid of smelling salts in the NFL. Coach, was this part of your playing days? I mean, that feels like an old school thing.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I don't know what is it? That stuff. Of course, we all did that. But I tell you, we laughed. I stay in touch a lot. He'll be coming back. He'll be coming back at 85 Rose Bowl team in Iowa as the graduate assistant at the time. Hayden tried to hang on the body that we could. Graduate assistant, volunteer, part-time, whatever the titles, before he finally branched off and got his first assistant job as a defensive back coach in the Mid-American Conference. And we laugh about it, but how many times, back then, there was no concussion protocol. You got whacked, you hit somebody, you saw the stars. Shorty Paul, Dr. Shorty Paul, Coughlin was on the sidelines and he just get you three or four of those. Are you okay? You okay? Are you fine now? You still seeing stars? No. Get your ass back in there. That's how it went. And thank God that's all been improved. The head injuries, I think, are substantially down because of the amazing helmets that they use now. But no question we did that. I didn't know. That's news to me. I hadn't heard that. I was with Bruce Kittle because he was one of our captains on the 81 Rose Bowl team. And George is incredibly talented. And there's not a better interview in America than George Kittle. And but I didn't know that. But yes, we hit those things, and that was no big deal. We used them in football in high school. We used them in wrestling in high school, and then it just carried on to college sports. That was just kind of the norm, whether it's old school or new school. It worked because if you were a little groggy or you were seeing stars a little bit, and you took a hit of that ammonia that they stuck under your nose, woohoo! That'd wake you up a little bit now. That would wake you up.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, I got a question because you dropped some names, but when you brought up the Lester Hayes thing, I'm not asking you to pick a favorite, but I'm going to have you pick one from Iowa, Iowa State, and Wisconsin. The biggest badass that you coached on each team. Who's the biggest badass on Iowa and Iowa State and Wisconsin?
Wow. I mean, there were so many. I was so unbelievably blessed with all those defensive linemen. We started a tradition, and it's going strong today, guys. And if I drop dead tomorrow, I'll always be proud of that unity and that chemistry and that bond that we built. I'm getting together, as I mentioned, with a bunch of them here this weekend here in Florida that I coached. Just tremendous guys. But if you're just talking about pure badasses, the two that I coached at Iowa would be John Hardy, who went on to be a Super Bowl champion in the NFL, was a second-team All-American. I'm talking about a badass. And then the other one would be from Partyville, Wisconsin, Mark Bortz. Those two, if you're going down a dark alley, and believe me, I had many of them, and I'll see a number of them this weekend. If they hear this interview, they're going to be pissed at me because I didn't mention them. But just pure badasses, it's those two. Oh, my God. They physically would just dominate offensive line. Of course, Mark Bortz went on. Mike Ditka, the last cut of the NFL cut, they're cutting down to 53, and Mike Ditka calls Hayden Fry and says, "Is there any chance Bortz couldn't make the defensive line roster?" Because they had Hampton and Steve McMichael and just a great lineup that ended up winning the Super Bowl in '85. He said, "Do you think you can move the offensive line?" Coach Fry calls and says, "Matt, what do you think?" I said, "Coach, no doubt. Hell yes, he could move the offense." And we were in agreement on that. They moved him to offensive guard, and he got, about 13 years in the NFL playing offensive guard, also a Super Bowl champ. So those were just bad asses. And then at Wisconsin, it's not as big a name, but he was a badass. His name was Mike Thompson. He was an all Big Ten defensive lineman for me. We go to Tokyo, Japan. We had to listen to this. We go from Chicago, Illinois, with the Michigan State team led by George Perlis. We're on the same plane, guys, from Chicago to Vancouver, Canada, to Tokyo, Japan, to play in the Japan Bowl. Both teams are going to bowl games. If we win, we're going to the freaking Rose Bowl. And we'll go over there and win that game. Tom's had an unbelievable game. Then we go to the Rose Bowl. To this day, we forced 6 turnovers in that game. We beat UCLA 21-16. Tom's forced 3 fumbles that day. And to this day, that's the biggest. It still is the most turnovers ever in a game at the Rose Bowl. He was amazing. And then Iowa State, just badass, just tough, physical, relentless. I know it sounds funny maybe because you're thinking defense or offensive lineman, which I had a number of those guys. But the toughest, most durable guy that I had in a badass when you want to go out there on game day was Troy Davis. And you go 2,000 yards 2 years in a row against 6 or 7 ranked teams, which we did every year back in the old Big 12. TD did something that had never been done in history, and that was in 95 and 96. Here it is, 2025, and nobody's done it since. Tells you something about Troy Davis and what a badass he was.
I like to hear that one. That as a kid growing up, Coach, that he was kind of my Barry Sanders. You know what I mean? I remember thinking, like, they make college running backs better than this guy?
Yeah. And he was guys. You got 3 years in the NFL, whole bunch of years in the NFL. Darren got a whole bunch of years, in the CFL. Darren got a whole bunch of years in the CFL. But just go back to college. We got 7,000 yards out of the same living room of Troy Davis and Darren Davis. Amazing, just amazing. And I stay in touch with those guys, love them, respect them, and appreciate what they did to help us build that foundation that really is flourishing nowadays under Matt Campbell and his program.
Good stuff. Coach McCarney, it's always good to catch up. Let's do this again before the end of the season. You're bringing too much energy. I feel like physically worn out, like I've just gone through my own workout. And you like worked up a sweat. You know, if you weren't a coach, you would have been a great professional wrestler. You would have been great against Ric Flair and Hogan and those guys. You would have been awesome.
I would end up in the hospital too. So I heard you mention before we got on, I'll let you go, but when you mentioned Joe Woodley, another one of my guys, a captain for me at Iowa State, his dad, Mike Woodley, phenomenal coach, was with me many years, and you keep supporting all you that support Drake football. He's going to build something really special. Now, they've had wins, and they've been doing a really good job, and that coach went to Northern Iowa, but Joe Woodley's the real deal. Never lost a regular season game in all those years at Grandview, and just won a national championship in NAIA football. So it's going to be fun to watch the Bulldogs this year too.
Excellent, Coach. Always good to catch up. Have fun in Ireland, and let's hook up before the end of the season.
Aaron Gabraw. See you guys. Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Travel safe.
Coach Dan McCarney joining us on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Are you tired? I am. I wish I had that much energy.
It's funny. That doesn't wear me out. That gets me. Now I'm more amped than I was before.
Well,
I feel like I drank another pot of coffee.
But that's why, like, when I used to cover Big 12 Media Days, so we would go to Kansas City or we'd go to Dallas. I always wanted to coach McCarney because you felt great about it. There was like two coaches you wanted to coach: Dan McCarney and Mac Brown. That's like, okay, that made my day when I went to those guys at Big 12 Media Days. That was just like fulfilling at that point. All right, 515.
Mac Brown doesn't carry that energy. No. Right. I mean, I've never been around Mac Brown personally or interviewed him, but man, that you feel that.
Because you got energy and charisma, and then Mac Brown just had the charisma, right? So and then of course Mike Leach came in later on, and you just got weird. So that you had a bunch of different stuff. All right, 515-517-2303. We'll take a break. It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Hi, I'm Josh Romick, Service Manager at Willis Lexus. And I want to take a moment to share our smoking hot deals we got going on for the month of August. Right now we got a 20% discount on brake pads and rotors, and also a 50% discount on alignments with the purchase of 4 new tires. That's a $90 value. And don't forget to ask about our Lexus Tire Price Match Guarantee. Give us a call to schedule or visit us online at willislexus.com. Thank you for watching, and stay cool.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the RushRadio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Every business has priorities, and Priority One Heating and Cooling is no different. As a service provider, we prioritize quality air conditioners and furnaces that will keep your home at your comfort level year-round. As a small business, we prioritize doing things the right way and treating people fairly. As a truly local business, we prioritize our community. As a veteran-owned business, we prioritize duty and commitment. For big business service with local value, trust your home to the place where you are always Priority One.
Hey, it's Marion over at Land Rover of Des Moines. With all those summer miles and any last-minute road trips you have before school starts, come on down and get an alignment for $179.95 and $25 off an oil change. Give us a call or schedule online at LandRoverDesMoines.com.
Rush, strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
A fuel choice that's cheaper, greener, and homegrown. Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88. Visit iowacorn.org for more. Also today, we want to welcome Midwest Landscapes and Hardscapes to the Rush Radio Show. If you need a landscaping project, if you need a hardscaping project, and Ross sells a lot of real estate. He's got closings galore. He's able to recommend Midwest Landscapes and Hardscapes to his buyers and sellers, and we recommend Midwest Landscapes and Hardscapes to you for your next home project.
Sorry about that. I'm going to have to get Midwest Landscapes and Hardscapes over here to see if they can give me any ideas on this dumbass hill I have. I don't even have a yard. I have a hill. And I don't know what to do with it. I have 17 years of every day. Every time I mow the lawn, I sit there and go, what do I do? And I have no ideas.
Well, they're creative. They do the hardscapes. They do the landscapes. They may be able to go, hey, Ross, we're going to make your mowing a lot easier. Put a little wall here. Maybe terrace it off a little bit so you're not going off the. You put some flower beds so you can have a little front yard curb appeal.
More ideas in 17 seconds than I've had in 17 years.
See? We're idea guys. That's exactly what we are. Ross, did you hear about this guy in Miami? Some stolen goods.
I did hear about this from the Miami Heat.
Yes.
This is wild, dude. This is wild.
So you had a security guard who was very upper-level security guard with the Miami Heat. He's a former Miami police officer. He was one of very few people who had access to like all the areas within the arena. He was breaking in and stealing game-worn jerseys and other memorabilia. They think he took like 400 game-worn jerseys, including a LeBron James NBA Finals jersey, and he would sell them online at a majorly discounted price. Like he took the LeBron James one, sold it for $100,000. You're probably going $100,000 is cheap. And in that world, yes, because it later sold on auction for over $3 million. They believe he profited like upwards of $2 million over the course of years of stealing these jerseys. Think about it. Former police officer, you gain trust. You're a security guard. You have that credential. You have no idea this is going on underneath your nose the whole time. And the feds got him. He was in court, I believe, yesterday. But that's a massive amount of memorabilia to be taken. It's crazy.
The worst part about cops is that they're people, right? And I don't think anybody should judge a group of folks based on the worst, right? You shouldn't look at this and go, oh, see, cops are blah blah blah. No, this is a human being that was making some really, really, really stupid decisions. Man, think about it. Travis. That sports memorabilia world is a weird one to me. It's just weird. It's not it's not a world I live in, but I have a lot of friends that live in that world, live in it. And I'm always curious about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like how, and even some of the, like you get stuff certified, right? Well, hell, it's just such a weird world. Guy stole a jersey, sold it for $100,000. My buddy Joe Knapp. Joe's one of those guys. In fact, I saw Joe at the Speedway over the weekend. Dude, it's $100,000 for the jersey and you got to assume then that's black market. I mean, technically, right? He stole it, and so he's not going to some guy and saying, "Hey, man." I mean so now we're in the black market. So then how does that transition happen then? How does that thing get certified or authenticated or
because 100%, because I'm like, okay, this was a stolen jersey. You sold it for $100. How did you get it authenticated that it was worn in a game in the NBA Finals without the Miami Heat knowing about it?
Joe, if you know this, or if because Joe's my buddy from Hat Trick Breaks through JCD and Hobby, so perfect guy to be listening to this right now. I mean, he was just last week. His kid was trading cards with Gary V, dude.
Really?
Yes. Joe's son did a trade with Gary V at a convention the other day. Joe, if you are available, dude, give us a call. I'd love to chat with you about some of this.
515-517-2303. Now, he does ask my question, how does a player not know, especially being game worn? Because what would happen was, now I've got the answer. The Heat actually wanted to put those items in like their own Hall of Fame, so they would go take those jerseys and put them in a special room. They would actually lock them up, and this security guard was one of only a handful of people who had access to that vault. Let's call it a vault. And so they would take those jerseys, put them in there knowing they were going to put those jerseys in the Hall of Fame, and then in storage, that guy got in there and took them.
So then Travis, is it possible? And again, maybe Joe knows the answer to this because he's in that world. Is it possible that stuff kind of gets authenticated in that process? Like maybe somebody from the team labels it in some way, or I'm just guessing. I'm totally guessing here on how that would work out.
That is actually a really good guess, because you would want to like authenticate it like immediately, because if you didn't, there would be no, how would you prove it? Do a DNA test to make sure that LeBron James' sweat was on it? To me, maybe there's an authentication process that takes place immediately. Hey, we're going to take your jersey, we're going to authenticate it, we're going to put it in storage, because this is going to go into the Heat Hall of Fame or whatever. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, and Joe confirmed it, said yes, they do have, just like MLB. So remember, with Major League Baseball, what they do with baseballs is they actually register them before the ball gets put into play. And then that way, when a home run gets hit, they can actually verify that was the ball that Mark McGwire hit, or whatever, or however, or Aaron Judge, or whoever it is now, Shohei Ohtani. So so they authenticate it right away. They put it in their vault, and then the breakdown happens there. We're one of your few trusted sources.
It's kind of like, the person who worked at the bank, and I saw this a lot in small town Iowa. A person who worked at the bank for 30 years would just find a way to take pennies at a time, right? Just you're skimming a little bit. Then all of a sudden, those pennies start adding up. And then the audit comes in. You're like, where did all this money go? And Janice, and I'm just throwing the name Janice out there, gets arrested.
It's always Janice. Man. Typical Janice, honestly. What did you expect from Janice? Right? We all saw it. We all could see it. The day she walked in the door, I'm like, Janice? She's going to steal from us. This is the premise of the movie Office Space. They write. Have you seen Office Space?
Yes.
Yeah, they write code to take tenths of a penny, and the next day they have like $5 million in the account.
Doesn't take long. Does not take long. I'm with you at the sports memorabilia world of the story you just told. Cards, jerseys, all that stuff. That doesn't impress me. I've been around sports memorabilia a lot during my life. I've had access to sports memorabilia. Hell, I look at all the press passes that I've had from the big events. They just didn't mean anything to me, so I didn't keep them. And I kind of regret it now, because I'm like, God, I should have kept that national championship. What impressed me most is you just said that Joe's kid was trading with Gary V. I know who Gary V is, so you're like, oh my God, he was with Gary V. That's the cool part of it.
Joe, if you can, dude, give us a call so you can tell us the story of J-Man meeting Gary V at that convention, because I'm not even sure where they were. I don't even know where the convention happened, or where they had traveled to go see, or what specific type of convention it was, because Joe's always going to different stuff. I remember from his Facebook post that Big Papi was there, so he was in. It was some sort of sports thing. But man, in my head, I feel like he traded like a Pokemon card with Gary V or something.
See, and that's something I just don't understand, is the Pokemon thing.
Well, it's cards. Charlie says, "Am I the only one who doesn't know who Gary V is?" Maybe that's no, Gary or Charlie. You're not the only one who doesn't know who he is. So we should probably explain. Gary V is a influencer. His dad owned a wine company. He helped launch. Is it wine.com?
Something like that. He's got an app, but I mean, his last name is Gary Vaynerchuk is his name, and but he goes by Gary V. And he's become like this serial entrepreneur who's very influential on the TikTok space, on the X space. I think he was one of the first investors in the original Twitter, and he's big on LinkedIn. And so I would probably say this. Even though you may not know who he is, if you saw him, you go, "Oh, that guy."
That guy, yeah. And you probably don't like him because he's a polarizing dude.
Very much so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. $2 million worth of stuff. My question is, it has been happening over years. Did you notice it, or did you just go, "Hey, where's that LeBron jersey?" And nobody wanted to go back and say, "I lost it."
That's got to be it, right? You just kind of, it's the telephone game that happens. I'm guessing, dude. I'm guessing here on that thing of you, how did they not, okay, we're going to go get LeBron's jersey and we're going to go put it in the vault. And then someday later down the line, they go, "Oh, okay, I'm going to go look in the vault. Crap, where's LeBron's jersey? We probably forgot to grab it." I mean, I get you'd I don't know who to blame here. So maybe we misunderstood. Maybe we weren't supposed to get LeBron. Maybe that one went to the Hall of Fame. Maybe LeBron wanted it. We got D Wade's jersey. We're good.
But see, this is why I have trust issues with a lot of people, right? It's just, I trust no one. So I would be like, I look at like everybody who, especially when you're in charge of like that much money or that much memorabilia, I'd be like, "Oh my God, it's got to go in the CEO." Pat Riley should have been like, "The vault is in my office and nobody's allowed in but me. I'm going to watch you put it in there, and that's it."
Bring that jersey to me.
100%.
Maybe not. I mean, gonna have to change the procedures. $2 million worth of stuff over time. And again, Travis, it's that trickle effect. I'm just gonna take this one. All right, I'll just take this one. Well, man, nobody's noticing that. I'll take this one. Nobody noticed that. So, and then all of a sudden you get to that tipping point and they go, "Oh, jail for you."
You're right. It's getting away with it once, and the repeat offender because it was that easy.
Speaking of LeBron, have you seen the article about him partnering in a rival NBA?
No.
Dude, I don't know how this hasn't gotten more attention, and I honestly kind of wonder how this is even legal. LeBron James and his business partners have invested have a plot to invest $5 billion.
Hold on, that's billion with a B?
B. To launch a rival NBA league. A new international basketball league is currently being discussed, with LeBron James and his business manager reportedly involved in negotiations over the $5 billion project. The Lakers star is reportedly involved in a major $5 billion project that could launch a league that would rival the NBA. He is, let's see. He's gonna take up his $52 million option to play with the Lakers this year, but he is working in the background with shareholders in Fenway Sports Group, which owns several sports teams, to launch a international basketball league that they say will rival the NBA. How do you feel about that? Isn't this live?
In a way, yes. And the truth is, live for its good attributes, and I do believe it has good attributes, it is not produced the level of competition for the PGA Tour that we thought, even though they got really, really good players. This is the USFL. This is the XFL. And the USFL, as I remember it, going back to the early 80s, well, that's when you got Reggie White to go play in the USFL. That's when you got Jim Kelly to go play in the USFL. That's when you got, Warren Moon to go play in the USFL. Herschel Walker with the New Jersey Generals. So you actually got those big name players. It'd be interesting to see if they can get big name college players to go to this new international league. What the NBA needs to do and wants to do, obviously, is to go international, but how do you do that without affecting the schedule, right? I mean, you would almost need a separate league in Europe and in Asia to play its own season and then come together for a true NBA championship. I mean, that's the only way it would work. You couldn't have teams crossing over all the time. I mean, the time difference would be horrendous. It sounds like a good idea, and it looks like you can throw a lot of money at it. I just don't see how it works to beat an established brand like the NBA. I just don't know how it works.
Uphill battle for all those. I love it. You said it. JT says it too. Not live XFL. XFL. You'll be a nuisance to the NBA.
Yes.
Not. Yeah. And Bus says that's the thing. I mean, we are talking about a lot of billions. $5 billion is a lot of billions. But you gotta have real money.
They tried this back in the late 60s, early 70s. It was called the ABA. And it didn't work.
Oh, the Flint Tropics. Yeah, loved the Flint Tropics. Jackie Moon, Coffee Black.
I mean, of all the things you could invest in, right? You've got $5 billion to invest. I don't know if a new basketball league is what I would throw my money at. But again, I don't have $5 billion, so this isn't going to be my problem.
We'll see. I just thought it was an interesting story that NBA player looking to launch competitive league. It's like, you can do that?
When you're LeBron James, I think you can kind of do anything you want to do. Because you know what he could have said, Ross, is if you have a problem with it, I'm done. And what does the NBA want? They still want LeBron James in the league because he's still.
I'd say need. I mean, there's still superstars in the league. You've got other guys, but LeBron is still the torchbearer for now.
Well, I can't push back against that. I think you're 100% right. Hey, one thing we didn't get to last week, which kind of surprises me, especially with what happened with the Iowa State budget situation as they were presenting to the Board of Regents, is that Matt Campbell got a contract extension. His pay raise is going from, $4 million a year to $5 million a year. He's still not one of the top 5 paid coaches in the Big 12. But you have the money problems, and then you say, "Oh, we're going to give our coach more money," which I know Ross loves when it comes to paying guys out. And there's other incentives. Win 7 games. Where does that seem familiar with? 7 games, $250,000. Wonder who set that 7-game benchmark for a big bonus. You get $1.5 million for going 12-0. You only have a $2 million buyout for a Power 4 school and a 0 buyout for an NFL team.
Is that surprising to you? You know those buyout things, like the details, that a lot better than me. Is that surprising for the NFL thing?
The NFL one doesn't surprise me because you're not competing against said entity, right? I mean, it's like, okay, you're going to the NFL, not much we can do about it. The $2 million buyout for the Power 4 kind of surprised me because not that Matt Campbell would leave just for any job. I believe that most Power 4 jobs are pretty good. Do you leave for an Ohio State? Do you leave for, I'm just throwing...
Yeah.
Teams
that's fair.
They have the money just to $2 million. Okay, we can write that. The $2 million buyout kind of surprises me, but for the NFL it doesn't, because that's saying, hey, you're leaving college football, you're going to something completely different. Don't forget he interviewed for the Bears job when it was open. So, but $5 million is a lot of money. $5 million is a hell of a lot of money in Ames, Iowa. But the fact that he's still not one of the 5 highest paid coaches in the Big 12 is kind of surprising.
Are they one of the 5 best teams in the Big 12?
Absolutely.
Absolutely is the answer to that. Yeah. Weird world we live in, dude. Weird world. I do think that's that's an odd thing of, man, we cannot figure out how to come up with this $20 million that we have to put projects on hold. We have to stop doing things. And by the way, a guy got $1 million raise. I go back to Maytag. I spent the weekend in Newton, right? Sunday I'm in Newton. Our buddy Scott, I ran into Scott at the race, Newton native, right? The guy that was that ran the Maytag plant in Newton, when they closed that down, he got a bonus. How'd that guy get a bonus if the plant got shut down? Because he did his job. He did his job. His job was to do exactly that. How are we giving bonuses when the ship seems to be sinking?
Because you could make the argument that his division of said business is the one performing.
So we're not talking about, again, back to that. So we're not really talking about the athletic department or the institution of higher learning. What we're talking about is the football team. Plant manager's doing his job, and he's going to get paid for it. And when the plant closes and everybody goes, man, they failed, they all made more money.
Were you surprised at Coach McCarney's, because we knock coach speak quite a bit about, recruiting good young men, preparing them for life. That's the first thing he went to. And I was thinking, oh, Ross, I'm like, is Ross going to fire back here? But no, he was passionate about that.
And it's real. And you see, you know what I mean? You see that in a coach like that. And he says, man, these are the real relationships that I have built in my time. Travis, I want to be clear here. I don't deny or push back on the fact that stuff happens. Where I push back on is when you hear things like a college locker room is the only place to build things like that. That when they start to elevate themselves on some pedestal, that's when I bring out my axe and go, hold on. No. That happens in a lot of places. Young men become great men, and I have relationships with men that I went to kindergarten with, and we didn't play college football together. So it can happen, and I believe that those things happen, especially when that's your focus from the beginning.
All right, as we wrap up, a reminder, make sure to get to JR South Fork Ranch, not just tonight, but for the Iowa State Fair. They are going to be open from 4 to 8 today. Damon Dotson going to be playing some live music. Of course, fair kicks off tomorrow at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. JR South Fork Ranch and the Chicken Pickle Ranch Rocket for just $9 is going to be a fair food that you want to try. And, of course, the famous lobster rolls. We're back tomorrow at 6 a.m. with Bruno. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. It's the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
It's Body Armor. Real hydration with electrolytes. No artificial dyes and coconut water. Choose better. Body Armor.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
Hi, I'm Sean McFarland, Service Manager here at Mini of Des Moines. It's August, and while most of Iowa has shifted their attention to corn dogs and butter cows, us here at Mini of Des Moines are still focused on making sure your Mini is running properly and well maintained. Please give us a call or schedule your appointment online at miniofdesmoines.com.
bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience Links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.